points of contention at the Council of Nicaea were mainly about the books that were written by or had to do with the Apostolic Fathers. The Fathers were the generation of church leaders after the Apostles. So, for example, the Council of Nicaea was concerned with documents from Clement of Rome, who wrote First Clement, and Polycarp, and one also titled The Shepherd of Hermas. They weren't wrestling with the books you hear about in our media. Like, nobody was arguing about whether or not the Gospel of Thomas was authoritative, and nobody had yet even really heard about the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. These books arguably didn't show up for hundreds of years. So, in the end, the Council of Nicaea decided against including these other books, like The Shepherd of Hermas, because local congregations didn't feel like they were useful, and biblical scholars didn't feel like they were authoritative or inspired. Now, this is a very different story than what you typically hear circulated in the secular press. This is not to say that the Council of Nicaea was nice or pleasant. In fact, far from it. But it is to say that there was much more worth to that council. It had much more value than our present day fictions often accredit. But what does it mean for us that we have this collection of books, this Bible, as it is today? Well, first, I think it means that there are things that could have been included that aren't, things that arguably by divine intervention were kept out of the Bible. And it also means that there are some books in the Bible that had their worth and their value debated. For example, Jude, which gives all kinds of warnings against false teachers. What does it mean that those books that are in have been in for 2 millennia and continue to be authoritative? Well, what meaning should the Bible have in our lives today? Well, I think the best and the most accurate way for us to view the Bible is as the primary way in which God speaks to us. And not just to us as a community, like not just the way that God speaks to his church, but the way that God speaks to you and me. Now, God can speak to us in a number of different ways. If he wanted to, he could do whatever he wanted. If it suited his purpose, he could show up here and talk to us as a hologram or write on the wall or yell in our face or whatever. He's God. He can do whatever he wants. And yet, the experience of most Christians throughout the last several thousand years is that God speaks through his word, and his primary delivery system for the word to us today is through the scripture. He gives us instruction. So the Bible is our authority in all matters of creed and conduct, all matters of our beliefs and our behavior. And so this is what the church breaks down into orthodoxy and orthopraxy. Orthodoxy is right thinking or right glory, as we said, and orthopraxy is right practice. Creed and conduct, belief and behavior, orthodoxy and orthopraxy. This is the gift of scriptural guidance. Christian spirituality isn't just about what we believe. Christian spirituality isn't just about our knowledge. The Bible informs us about the way we live. It teaches us and rebukes us when we misstep. It corrects us. It's not just a list of rules. It's not a system of control. It's inspiration for the way we live. It's help for the way we live. It's wisdom for the way we live. And it shapes us and changes us and molds our understanding of the world. Now, a lot of times people think of the Bible as like the counterpart to prayer, like we speak and verbalize our thoughts to God through prayer, and then God speaks back to us through the Bible. That's overly simplistic, but it is a good starting point to say that we talk and he responds through the interaction of Bible reading and prayer, which is why Christians for thousands of years have always taken Bible reading and prayer as like the 2 primary spiritual disciplines. Now, beyond that, a lot of people like to see the Bible as like a love letter. And so some people think that if you frame the whole Bible as a love letter, it takes a lot of the sting out of some of the passages in the Old Testament or the weird stuff in Revelation or Daniel or whatever. But we don't really want to reduce the Bible to something other than what it truly is. I mean, the whole Bible isn't a love letter. We don't want to force the whole Bible into some kind of weird mold. We want the Bible to be what the Bible is. It's a compendium. It's a library of love letters and judgment, advice and criticism, comedy and tragedy, and further narratives of divine and human interaction. So we go back continuously to the Bible to enrich our lives and our understanding. That the Bible is fertilizing our real lives. And so personally, I often go to the Bible just for perspective. I try and get some enrichment, and the wisdom and the perspective of the Bible is potent and powerful. So whether you understand the Bible as a love letter or as compost, or even as a rule book or as a guidebook, the fact remains that as we live and as we stretch and as we grow, the dynamism of our Christian spirituality continues to unfold in relationship to the scriptures. And as it does, we uphold the centrality of the Bible as our governor in all matters of creed and conduct, because there has to be common theological starting point for belief in God And we believe God gave us that starting point in the form of the Holy Bible.